There are tales littered all across the wastelands of the old world. Within these tales are secrets, knowledge, and legends waiting to be told. I've traversed the boneyards of once great cities to collect these chronicles of post-apocalyptia. Some of these stories are beyond logical reasoning. Are these just radiation-poisoned brains conjuring up these myths? Or is there some truth to be found in them? Only you can decide, as we step into the haze of Wastelord's legends.
Since the first birth of Cain and Abel, mankind has been at war with each other for thousands of years, and even after destroying the world and most of each other, they continue to spill blood, because war never changes. On October 23, 2077, spears of atomic annihilation rained down from the heavens, boiling the oceans and turning the land into a scorched hellscape. Billions had perished in an instant, yet they were the lucky ones compared to the many who had survived the initial blast, but succumbed to their wounds or the radiation. Those lucky enough to survive the nightmares of the nuclear holocaust and its immediate aftermath did so by either entering into one of the Vault-Tec-created fallout shelters located throughout America, or through pure luck. However, their struggle had only begun, as they had many new threats to face. While many believed the 122 commissioned vaults offered refuge to the American people, they would only end up saving less than 0.1% of America. The odds of safety would only dwindle from here, as those who had found themselves in the vaults were faced with a double-edged sword, as despite them being spared the radiation, in some cases, they would now be experimented on, unless they were fortunate enough to get into one of the 17 control vaults. Moving on from the horrors of the vaults, most surface dwellers were forced to survive the wasteland, whether that meant mutating into a ghoul, becoming a cannibal, and many other horrifying methods of survival. While the destruction of mankind and its home may have brought the end of the pre-war, history continued into the chapter of the post-war. The following information has been scavenged through terminal entries, charred notes, and shared whispers from the ancestors of the ones who destroyed this planet. As with anything freely given in the wasteland, take the following with a great deal of speculation, as who knows what this information truly mutated from. Sometime soon after the bombs blanketed the planet, first responders of all types had joined together to create the group known as the Responders to assist the people of Appalachia. 4 days after the end in California, former U.S. soldiers led by Roger Maxson buried West Tech scientists they had executed due to their horrifying research on FEV and unwilling subjects. They then left the Mariposa military base and secured it behind them, leaving its secrets to be undisturbed, before traveling southeast toward a government bunker known as Lost Hills. A day later in Zion National Park, a former Army member, Randall Clark, took shelter in a cave located in the canyon that was under research from the United States Geological Survey. On the way to Lost Hills, the Maxson group would encounter attacks from raiders that would cost the lives of many, including Maxson's wife. Another hardship the group faced was a schism among members who wanted to instead search the nearby West Tech research facility. While this would prove fatal to the split group, the remainder had continued on with their journey. While traveling, Roger Maxson had made contact with Elizabeth Taggarty, a former lieutenant, and informed her of his desertion. While at first Taggarty wanted nothing to do with the traitor, she would eventually trust her old friend. By November, the group had made it to Lost Hills. Around this time in Appalachia, Taggarty and her soldiers had captured Camp Venture and began using it as a forward operating base. By 2078, Vault 87 had begun its experiment, which involved the forced evolutionary virus, and it would ultimately lead to the supermutant population residing in the remains of the United States Capitol. Not long after, the wasteland was hit by its first winter, which was extremely rough for survivors, as it was one of the most intense winters they had ever seen. January 8th through the 10th marks a 2-day windstorm that cleared most of the residual radiation from Zion. January 15th, Randall Clark recorded glowing green snow that began to fall into Zion. On January 26th, the remaining child survivors of a school field trip during the Great War officially elected Jason Grant as their mayor of their newly founded Little Lamplight. By January 30th, Zion's radiation levels were safe enough for humans. On April 23rd, Vault 111's 180-day shelter-in-place period ended, yet despite this, their overseer refused to open the vault door, causing the other staff members to turn against him. July 1st, the remaining snow finally melted, and with it, radiation levels were significantly down. Moving on to Appalachia, Shannon Rivers became the true mistress of mystery and ventured into the wasteland. 1 year after the Great War, Vault 94 reopens and sent out Vault members to aid the survivors of Appalachia. On November 20th, the mayor of Harper's Ferry sent out a group of survivors with one of the Vault dwellers to Vault 94 due to the Vault offering assistance by claiming they can share food. The Vault dwellers were openly hospitable, as they hadn't experienced the horrors of the outside. This kindness was mistaken as a threat by the survivors, who believed they were sent into a trap, and they began slaughtering the dwellers, and in the process destroyed their Vault's Garden of Eden creation kit, which in turn caused the surrounding flora to rapidly evolve within the region known as the Mire. On December 31st, the White Spring Resort, which was a bastion for survival, evicted all human survivors, leaving only robots to look after the resort during the Modern Heritage event. In 2079, the anarchist group known as the Free States emerged from their bunkers after their leader, Raleigh Clay, gave them the all-clear signal. They were eventually contacted by the mayor of Harper's Ferry, Miranda Vox. Due to desperate times, Vox asked the Free States for aid, and despite the town's harsh treatment of the Free States pre-war, Raleigh agreed to help. The same year, the Free States captured the Thunder Mountain power plant. However, it was eventually attacked by Elizabeth Taggarty's group known as Taggarty's Thunder. After 2 days, the group surrendered the plant to Taggarty's Thunder. Not too far away, Shannon River formed the Order of Mysteries, bringing the Mistress of Mystery comics to life. According to some, 2080 was the year that survivors and creatures began to rapidly mutate, creating new species in an incredibly short time span. However, take this information with a grain of salt. In 2081, the Skynet AI in the Sierra Army Depot gained sentience. It is claimed that by 2082, the Brotherhood of Steel was founded by Roger Maxson and his group. This claim is substantiated as around this time, Taggarty's Thunder also joined their cause for providing protection as well as collecting useful technology. The group known as the Responders discovered the mutant threat at Huntersville and were able to keep the mutants inside the area from spreading. On Christmas Day, raiders in Appalachia destroyed the Summersville Dam, flooding Charleston and killing countless lives, including many Responders, as well as destroying Appalachia's chances of rebuilding for decades. 2083, the shadowy government group known as the Enclave, located under the White Springs, began experimenting on mutation serums and accidentally created the first Scorched Beasts. These creatures would begin to spread a disease known as the Scorched Plague that infected almost all life forms, including humans. In the White Spring Bunker, Enclave member Thomas Eckhart was elected as President of the United States through hacking and forcing votes. In May, the survivalist known as Randall Clark discovered mutated life returning to inhabit Zion. Sometime during the summer of 2083, the town of Necropolis in California was founded by the ghouls of Vault 12 and the survivors of the town of Bakersfield. 2084, the survivalist Randall Clark took a trip to Salt Lake City, hoping to find the remains of his family. After he returned from his journey, he recorded,
"I want to believe it was fast, a flash. Both of you vaporized. Lies. To make myself feel better. I'll never know which part of the city got hit first. Northeast, and you both died in a blink. Farther away, and you burned alive screaming, or the blast, broken glass, and bits of brick and wood splinters shredded you like hamburger. Look at it, coward, and listen. Don't turn away. Face it. If you'd been brave, lucky man, you would have found a spot and blown your brains out. But not you. You took your time walking back. Made a shopping trip of it. Scrounger."
Back in New California, the leader of Necropolis was replaced with a man named Set, forcing the original leader, the overseer of Vault 12, to leave the city. 2085, the first Scorched Beast sighting from a non-Enclave member was recorded by a former raider, seeing it fly out of a hole in the ground in the Cranberry Bog region, near Watauga. 2086, Harper's Ferry fell due to the new threat of the Scorched and the Scorched Beasts. Fleeing for their lives, the Free States returned to their bunkers to plan a counterattack on the Scorched. The Enclave located in the White Spring Bunker revolted against Thomas Eckhart due to his unhinged actions, such as releasing the Scorched Beasts and subsequently the Scorched Plague onto the Appalachian people. While revolting, the bunker's AI, known as Modus, was damaged and in return sealed all Enclave members inside the bunker, causing them to succumb to an internal gas leak created by the mutiny. In May, the Appalachian Brotherhood of Steel and the Responders joined forces in taking over Huntersville and were granted victory by June 1st. On November 18th, the Order of Mysteries crumbled to pieces due to past actions, internal corruption, poor decisions, and outside conflict with raiders. By 2088, the Appalachian Brotherhood of Steel set up trading posts at the eastern side of the Big Bend Tunnel. 2090, Harold left his overcrowded vault, suspected to be Vault 29, at age 18. 2091, Vault 8 opens, and with the help of their Gek, the dwellers create Vault City in New California. 2092, the LA Demonstration Vault opens, allowing its inhabitants to help wastelanders create the Boneyard, a settlement located in the remains of the once sprawling city of Los Angeles. Back in Vault City, Dr. Richard Gray was banished from his home because of murder and traveled south. 2093, in the Mojave Wastes, Vault 11 was finally opened after the 5 remaining dwellers refused to sacrifice any more people. The vault congratulated them and freed them. Back in New California, the hub was founded around a dirty oasis in the desert by a man known as Angus. By July 20th, the Appalachian Brotherhood are forced to abandon Camp Venture in order to focus on defending Fort Defiance and the Thunder Mountain power plant from the continuous onslaught of the scorched creatures. 2095, Taggarty's Brotherhood detachment initiates Operation Touchdown, a desperate attempt to destroy the Scorched Beast nest deep below the surface of the Cranberry Bog using explosives. After facing heavy casualties as they fought endless waves of scorched and scorched beasts, Paladin Taggarty herself was forced to detonate the explosives and ended up blowing up most of the scorched caverns at the cost of Taggarty's and her team's lives. This mission would only delay the spread of the scorched. After a couple days of no Scorched Beast sightings, the operation was considered a victory. Due to the Brotherhood's heavy requests for supplies from the Responders, tension grew between the group, and eventually boiled over when it was discovered the Responders were researching the Scorched Plague. After the Brotherhood demanded to have the research project through the threat of violence, the group's relations were destroyed. In early April, Scorched Beasts were once again spotted flying in the region. By August 19th, the Appalachian Brotherhood of Steel fought the endless hordes of Scorched down to the last man, ending the faction's presence in Appalachia. On September 20th, 28 Wastelanders, including women and children from Mexico, enter the canyons of Zion. After one breaks their leg, the survivalist covertly aids by showing them where the injured man was through mimic screams, as well as secretly giving them a bottle of antibiotics by making them think that they had found it. By 2096, Harold becomes a caravan boss at the hub. The vault dwellers of Vault 22 in the Mojave Desert flee their vault due to the plant life releasing zombie-like spores that have taken over. 118 infected residents from Vault 22 enter Zion and inadvertently spread spore plants. Upon finding the Mexican wastelanders, they begin to kill and capture them. On Valentine's Day, the vault dwellers cannibalize the remaining Mexican refugees, including the children. Using his military training, as well as his knowledge of the outdoors, the survivalist meticulously attacks the former Vault 22 residents. By July 6th, work has started on a vaccine for the Scorched Plague in Appalachia. On November 7th, the Responders are killed after a scorched attack at their last remaining base at Morgantown Airport. January 13th, 2097, Randall Clark pushed the remaining Vault 22 dwellers from Zion after single-handedly killing around 84 of them, assisted only slightly by the disease that dwellers were infected with. He was known as an evil spirit to the dwellers, as none of them ever saw him and survived. On January 17th, Randall Clark found a woman from Vault 22 who fled her group due to abuse and was now stuck in one of his bear traps. The good-natured survivalist freed her and began to take care of her. Entering the spring, the surviving raider gangs are decimated from the Scorched and were forced to leave Appalachia. Around the same time on the West Coast, a group of Vault 15 residents entered the wasteland. These dwellers would eventually form the raider gangs known as the Great Khans and the Vipers. In 2100, at the age of 47, Randall Clark and the woman he saved had become romantically involved and were expecting a child. Despite this, Randall was terrified to lose either Sylvie or his child due to the circumstances, as well as feeling guilty for not telling Sylvie about his previous wife and child, who perished in the Great War. March 5, 2101, Randall Clark lost both Sylvie and his new son, Michael, during childbirth. He noted that he felt like he can finally end his life after contemplating it since the Great War. In New California, Vault City changed their government to be more open, and instead of an overseer, they would now have a council of citizens led by the first citizen. Thank you all for listening to this broadcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and I obviously am going to finish this timeline going all the way to the Fallout TV show. There's a lot to do. I have a very huge script that I've already written. I know this video has been a long time coming. I've been talking about it forever, but it's finally here now. And the reason this video is only 15 minutes long is I just sat down for 15 minutes and I was like, damn, I got things to do. So, 15 minutes to me is a perfect size for a video like this, especially because I'm going to release it in episodes. You can catch each one. I'll try to do each week. It's kind of ambitious because it does take a lot of time to make these videos. Like, it's taken me a while just to make this one. But yeah, I really hope you all enjoy this. If you have a better suggestion for timeline or whatever like that, like how long the video should be, something like that, please let me know. A huge shout out to all my friends who helped me put this together. My two best friends, as well as a great friend of mine, Navigator Plays, who is going to be pinned in the description below. He helped record the Randall Clark segment, and he really nailed it. He gives me the vibe of, that's actually Randall Clark. That's how I see him, and that's why I specifically wanted him to play Randall Clark in this video. There may be future collabs, we'll see, but I wanted to say thank you, Navigator, and if you're available, I'd like to get you a little bit more on the rest of this series. And to all you listeners, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to document all this, as well as going to document the pre-war era after the post-war, because I'm backwards like that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more. And with all that said, may the Wasteland treat you with peace and prosperity.